So, first off, our white collar criminal practice is chaired by a former US, assistant U.S. attorney based out of New York. So it's the right location for a white collar criminal practice. Um, but what I think really differentiates Omnis from other large law firms is the value proposition that we offer to the clients. So typically, we have the same level of service, the same cachet when it comes to the quality of the lawyers that we have, and the same depth and breadth of experience, but our rates are a fraction of what Big Law charges. And what we're seeing is that between leveraging technology and leveraging having streamlined business operations, we can enhance that value proposition to the client. Additionally, we have internal practices which really allow us to partner with our clients to help them achieve their internal business goals. Law firms typically fall flat on the communication front. So, but we have institutional practices that allow our attorneys, and really empower our attorneys to talk to their clients when there's a change in the scope of the engagement, or a change in the staffing of the engagement, or change in the budget, or the changing of a timing of a deliverable well in advance of an invoice, which really allows, our clients to manage, their internal budgets in a way that really they find helpful. And so it's when you think about some of the most fundamental aspects of the practice of law, a lot of traditional law firms just fall flat. And we were able to leverage technology and innovation and just good business practices in a way that really helped propel our success. And look, that's how we got the Chambers ranking. So in law, there's a lot of pay to play ranking systems, and they're great. What differentiates Chambers, and Chambers really is the gold standard when it comes to ranking international law firms, is because it's not based just on the submissions of a law firm. It's based on the feedback of our clients. So our clients were the ones who advocated on behalf of Omnis because of the way we engage with our clients, the value proposition, the quality of the legal work that we deliver. And so it's that external validation that we are best in class in our practices. And that's why it's never been a numbers game for us. We've had 3,000 applications of attorneys looking to join Omnis and with 45 lawyers. So we are selective when it comes to that.
So how did you manage it? So I said you gotten thousands of applications. That was my next question, from attorneys wanting to join. What are they running from?
So there are a couple different things. I think that there's this growing frustration in mid to large size law firms about, I think the way their practice is managed. I think Big Law has a lot to offer in many respects, but I think there's this growing level of frustration that it's what have you done for me lately? Your existence is governed by numbers, and every January those numbers reset, and there are firm politics, and every partner subsidizes the decisions of a few, whether they're going to open up a new office or elevate salaries. And, when you think about your investment that you're making in your career, to have it subject to the whims of a few that may not necessarily align with your personal goals, there's a vulnerability there. And now with a firm like Omnis, there's another great opportunity where you're going to get paid more than Big Law, you're going to have the same resources, and you have greater autonomy. Now, from a small to mid-sized successful boutique, we have a great opportunity to bring them in, give them the benefit of our infrastructure, and now they scale and with a national firm, an international firm. So there's a tremendous benefit there. It's not meant for everyone. And when we meet with lawyers, it's not an interview. It's asking a lawyer's name what the next chapter of success looks like in their eyes, and whether it aligns with Omnis's growth strategy. And, that's really, and taking that approach, it's very different than a traditional Big Law interview. It's really just figuring out whether there's mutual alignment and benefit with an attorney joining Omnis. And when we're looking at Omnis, or looking at attorneys, it's not just a numbers-based analysis on an attorney's practice. Certainly we want, attorneys with practices that align with our strategic growth areas. And we want attorneys that are productive. But we want great human beings. We want attorneys that be active participants in our culture. That is as, if not more important than the numbers behind the practice, because that's going to be sustainable. That's going to be, contributing to the growth in such a meaningful way. So, and that's why we're so selective. It's not an easy, it's not an easy, feat to find the right combination. But when we do, it's wonderful.